Kyoshi, what are you doing? What are you up to now? For a few months now, I've been wandering around everywhere I go with a couple pieces of paracord. I have my eyes set on a few different survival schools and courses. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. I'll show you some of the knots that I've been working on. So this video is for them and for anybody else out there that's interested in also some basic knot tying. So even though it's been a lot of years since I was in the Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts, I've always been into like camping and outdoor wilderness survival. I had done some classes and courses, as a student years ago, but it's been a while and I found myself rusty at best with some of the skills that I had then that I'm trying to show my own kids and, revisit and relearn myself. And when I'm in the dojo, that's like I spend a lot of time here when I'm not at the police job. I'm in the dojo teaching at the martial arts school. And I practice with a lot of the stuff that I have in this place. So I'll be using heavy bags as a tree and bow staffs and the screamer sticks as things to practice lashing. And for a few months now, I've been wandering around everywhere I go with a couple pieces of paracord and I always have them in my pocket. And I'm sitting there always working on different knots and different kinds of knots and hitches and lashings and stuff like that. And my students see me not getting frustrated, but they come in and they see me learning, which to me is one of the best things that a teacher could show their students is that it's not like you get to this point where you know everything and you stop learning. Man, I barely scratched the surface. I know a decent amount of stuff about a decent amount of stuff, and I feel like I really don't know anything about anything, if that makes any sense. So I've been working on a handful of knots and lashes, and the ones that I've been finding are most common for me and what I'm trying to do. I have my eyes set on a few different survival schools and courses in the coming year, and I want to go there and do the best that I can and go in there knowing as much stuff as I can so that I don't want to learn basic stuff there. I want to learn the next level stuff. So brushing up on my own basic stuff, I've been doing a lot of knot tying and ridge lines. You tie a cord from one tree to another and you hang a tarp over it, or different ways that you would string a tarp up to make some shelter for yourself or whoever. And we're going to go over some of the knots that I've been finding most common. I might get some of the names wrong, and if I get it wrong, tell me. I got thick skin. I could take it. But we're going to have a little bit of fun. I'll show you some of the knots that I've been working on that seem like pretty common for my purposes. And my students have been watching me just like, Kyoshi, what are you doing? What are you up to now? And day to day, week to week, they're seeing me get better at it. And so this video is for them and for anybody else out there that's interested in also some basic knot tying. All right? Let's get after it. What's up, warriors? This is Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media and that's how you found your way over to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button, and YouTube will let you know when the next video drops so you get all sorts of cool content from here as well. We're going to do this as kind of a 2-part video or 2-part series just because try not to make it too long, but there's a handful of knots and then how you put the knots to use to create this rapid deploy ridge line. You kind of have the knots kind of set up ahead of time, or most of them. So when you're all done, you're going to have this handy dandy, fancy, quick deploy ridge line kind of set up ahead of time. So you'll have one knot that you'll use to wrap around the tree that you're standing next to. These little cords will kind of be the thing that you attach your tarp or canvas to, and then when you open up, the cord is in such a way you just kind of toss it to the other tree. We'll go over the knot that you'll use over there, and they're really easy knots once you learn how to do it. Like anything else, it's a little bit challenging at first. Once you get the hang of it, it's really kind of fun once you see how some of them work and how easy they tie and untie. I'm more fascinated oftentimes by how well they untie, and it's really cool. I think it's cool. All right, so I pretty much walk around with a red cord and a blue cord. I use just regular 550 or paracord. It's got 7 strands inside. Each one holds approximately 50 pounds, and then the sheath outside, or the colored part that you're looking at, holds about, I think, 200 pounds. So 7 times 5 is 350. Yeah, 200 pounds. So 50 on the little strings, and then 200 on the casing, and it's got a tensile strength of about 550 pounds. I've never tested that. I kind of take their word for it. So you cut it, and then with a lighter, you kind of burn the end. I lick my fingers or wet my fingers in some water or something and just kind of like make it so that, you know, it's nice and smooth on the outside. Anyway, the first knot that you kind of need to know, that everybody kind of knows. If you know how to tie your shoes, you put one over the other, tuck it under, overhand knot, and you have this overhand knot. Simple, looks like a little pretzel, right? So you use that for a few different things. You're going to use it in other knots. Sometimes you use it as a stopper knot. You have something where you think it's going to kind of slip through, and you don't want it to slip through, so you put a little stopper knot on the end. And so now this won't pull through another knot, which we'll get to a little bit. All right, so first we have a basic overhand knot. You take your 1/4, one over the other, tuck under, pull through, and you get this pretzel looking knot. Another knot that's very useful, square knot. We use it in martial arts all the time. It's how we tie our belt. We say left over right, tuck under, right over left, tuck under. And when you pull on it, you get this like fortune cookie looking type of knot, at least when you do it with your martial arts belt. So again, a square knot, and this is good for either taking two pieces of cord and tying them together quickly and pretty securely. And you get these two loops that kind of hook around each other. And the students in the dojo always get a kick out of it. We'll pull on it super tight. They start pulling, I start pulling. They grab one end, I grab the other. And then all you do is pinch the loops and pull them apart, and your square knot is apart. And you could use this to basically make a loop, which there's a couple different ways to. This is number 36 bank line, which is another type of cordage. It's not as thick, it's not as strong, but it's durable, and it's got like a waxy tar around it, which keeps it, you know, kind of weatherproofed. So a square knot could also be used to make a loop out of one piece of cord. So if you wanted this to become a loop that you were going to attach to something else, you basically do the same thing. Left over right, tuck under, right, the right side goes over the left, tuck it under and through, and there's your square knot. And you could adjust it and kind of shorten it, you know, shorten the tails. Shorten the tails too much, you run the risk of pulling, and, you know, if you make it super short, it might come undone. If you make the tails a little bit longer, you have a better chance of it not coming undone. But it's a pretty strong knot. I don't know if I would trust it to, like, you know, rappel off a building or something, but for, you know, these purposes, it works great, and it works really fast too. That's a square knot. Now another knot that I use a lot of times for either making line longer or for making a loop. Like on this one, it's hard to tell because it's black and the knot's already tied and it's kind of tight. It's called the fisherman's loop or fisherman's knot. And basically what you do is take two pieces of cord, and again, this is where I use the two different colored strings so that you could kind of see how, you know, a little bit better contrast. So what I do is I tie that overhand knot around itself, but it loops around the other string, and then vice versa. So what I do is you take the two cords in opposite directions, and I wrap around, and then I wrap it around, and under, over itself, through itself. So there's your overhand knot around the blue cord. Now the blue cord goes over the red cord, around itself, through itself, and you get that overhand knot on the other side. And same thing, you could shorten the tails. And what happens is when you pull these two together, you get a fisherman's knot. So when you're pulling on the red one, it wants to untie itself, but it can't because the blue one's there. The blue one wants to untie itself, but it can't because the red one is there. And you get these two opposing knots which lock tight. And again, you pull on the tabs, they come apart, you undo the loop, you undo the other loop, and now you got your two cords again. Now when you do it with only one, what I do is, same thing, you have your your working end. I wrap it around the other end, over itself, through itself. There's one. And your other working end, over the other, over itself, and through itself. You have an overhand knot in the opposite direction. And now you pull on these two, same thing. It's a little bit harder to tell because it's all red, but you have these two overhand knots. That's strong, man. And again, you pull on the tabs to undo it. The knots that you can't get out, those aren't good knots. All right, there's your fisherman's knot. Now, when we make that loop, that becomes this, which we then use to make what's called a PRUSIK or PRUSIK. I don't know how to spell it or pronounce it, but it's pretty awesome. So I already have this bank line tied with a fisherman knot, which I'll make another one real quick so you get an idea. So again, two separate lines around itself, around itself, through itself. There's an overhand knot. Now you have the other loose end. It's going to run around the part that's got to slide over, goes over, then over itself, and then through itself, and you get another overhand knot. You pull these together, and there's your fisherman's knot. Now I just tied this green cord is representing a ridge line. I have it tied, poor Bob, I have it tied around Bob's neck, and the other end around a heavy bag. And the way a PRUSIK knot works is, basically you take a loop, and you over and through itself. And you get this kind of lasso looking thing. And then when you get this lasso looking thing, we're going to do that 2 more times. So I feed it around that. The red one that's making the knot is going over the ridge line, the green one. Again, so it goes over and through. Again, make it nice and neat. And then over again 1 more time. Now check this out. So we make it nice and neat, dress it up. Boom. That's PRUSIK knot. The way this works is it slides along the line, but when you pull down and against it, it binds to the line. So if you were trying to hang your tarp from this to make a shelter, you put this through the holes or the grommets in your tarp, and there's ways to attach this to the tarp itself, but then you need to kind of pull the tarp tighter. You slide this away from the other tree, pulling the tarp tight, and then when you pull against it, it locks itself up. And when you need to move it, you release the tension and it slides. It's called a PRUSIK knot. It's really amazing. So again, you make this first, the fisherman's knot, to make a circle, to make a ring or a loop, and then you feed the loop through itself around the ridge line, and then it slides and will lock in place. Slides and locks in place. Slides. Amazing, right? And it really works best when it's 2 different thicknesses of line. So paracord and paracord, these are all the same thickness, whereas the bank line is thinner. So again, if I take the bank line and lay it over the top, put the knot through itself, goes on top, under, and then through itself. And you get this lasso looking thing, right? And then again, we go through the middle again. Bank line's a little bit stiff, so you mess with it. Use it a bunch, it kind of breaks in. So that's 2 times. Open it up, we're going to wrap around and go a 3rd time through this, through itself. Come on. There we go. And now that's kind of sloppy, so we just dress it up. And again, this is when my students walk in and see me getting frustrated, and it's actually, I don't know, I guess refreshing. Especially when the other instructors see me showing my students that, hey, I'm still a student too. And man, that bites in tight yet, and you let up on it, and it slides. Slides, pull down, and pull against. Bites in tight. let up on it, slides wherever you need it to go. Bites in tight. So again, that's why the number 36 bank line and 550 paracord are a good combination. You should have some of both of those in your kit, in your backpack, in whatever. All right. So we have. I'll show you how I tie this ridge line up. There's one more knot that's like a must know. It's called a bowline. Bowline, B-O-W-L-I-N-E, bowline. Like I'm going bowling with my buddies. All right. And the bowline knot, it's pretty cool because it's like just a little saying. So you take the part you want to tie around something, right? You make this little loop first in the cord. So this is my, let me see, running in, working in. This thing's tied to something else, right? Or I need to make a loop that I'm going to use to make other knots. So what I do is I make this small loop over itself. The rest of the string on that side goes through the hole, around the tree, and back into the hole. And I'll do this a couple times. And then you just kind of pull tight on the other one. And you have a knot with a loop that's not a slip knot, so it holds tight. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of roll it back towards myself. So it goes around and over itself. And then you have this little loop. And you take the running end. The rabbit comes out through the hole. See this? The rabbit comes under through the hole. Around the tree. We call this part the tree. Around, and then back into that hole. Follows itself back in. And I kind of hold where the two parts are together. Pull up. And there's your bowline. So now you could use this loop, like if you're going to wrap this around something, instead of like making like a lasso or something, you throw this knot around the tree and pull the rest of your cord through the loop. And now you have a slip knot. It works like a slip knot. Or I use these practice when we do stick fighting and knife fighting in the school. We have these plastic training knives. They're not sharp. I just use them as if I would use a stick in the woods. So maybe I wrap this around something and I want to make it tight, which I'll show you on the heavy bag. So I put this around on one side. I pull a bite. Instead of feeding the whole string through, I want to use a part of the string and be able to, have a lot of cord following it. I just have my loop. I feed a little bit of this through the loop. And you put a stick in there or something to hold it in place, which I'll show you on a heavy bag in a second. And now I take the rest of the cord and it continues on down. Quick review. We've got a bowline, right? I'm going to take the string, the cord, I wrap it back over itself, make a little hole. The rabbit goes through the hole, around the tree, back through the hole. I grab the loop I'm trying to make and the rabbit himself, pulled down, and the other string up. And there's our bowline. Okay, that's one. Our square knot, use the same cord, left over right, tuck under, right over left, tuck under, and there's our square knot. Our fisherman's knot, so one end wraps around the other, wraps around itself, like over itself, through itself. We basically make an overhand knot around the other string. Boom. The other side wraps over the other one, over itself, through itself. Now you have an overhand knot on that side. And you pull them in opposite directions, and we have our fisherman's knot. Bowline knot, square knot, fisherman's knot. A PRUSIK knot. I'm trying to hold this cord while I do it. We could wrap it over. So I basically take the loop over the ridge line and through itself. And that's the start of it. Then you just kind of follow that around again. All right, I'm going to feed that through again. And then we feed it through one more time. It's a little messy like this, but that should work out pretty good. That's a PRUSIK. Slides, bites, tight. Slides, bites, tight. We do one more. Save the best for last. My favorite one, the FARRIMOND friction hitch. Wait till you see this friggin' thing. All right, so check this out. So on my green ridge line, I have a bowline knot already tied, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the heavy bag like it's a tree. I wrap my cord around the tree. I have my bowline knot here. Now instead of trying to take 25, 30 feet of cord and feed it through this hole, what I do is I take a small loop called a bite. And I put the bite through the loop, okay? And now what I do is, we're outside, find a stick or something, and use it like a toggle. I'll use my training knife here as a stick, and then when we pull tight on this, if I take that out, it pulls out. But I make the bite, I feed the beat, I make a bite by taking a loop of cord, and I feed the bite through the loop of my bowline knot, and we get it nice and snug, and then I just take a stick, put it through there, and as I pull this tight, now we're on. Fix it a little higher so you can see. Snug as a bug in a rug. And the cool thing is, you pull that stick out, and there goes your knot. So again, part of the quick deploy is you have a bowline, throw it around the tree, catch it, bring it around to the front. There's your bowline knot. Small bite in the cord through the loop of your bowline knot, and then you put a stick like a toggle through the loop, through the bite, and that's how we attach the first part of the ridge line. Okay, so now the second part of this is we wrap the cord around the tree, let's say. The other end of the cord has the bite and the stick. This is a FARRIMOND friction hitch. The cord goes around the tree. I make a loop like under itself. I take the exposed loop, and similar to how a PRUSIK knot or PRUSIK knot works, is I put it over itself, under once, around and under twice, and now this little loop, my running end, is underneath the part that goes around the tree. I make a bite, and I feed the bite through that loop. Pull it tight, and the beauty of this, you ready for this? Check this out. So similar to how that PRUSIK knot works, is the part that feeds around the tree stays in place. And I could make this tighter, and it won't close on itself. So you could adjust how tight your line is. I can make it looser, or I can make it tighter. And the coolest part of all of this, can you see this? Watch. Ready? Bing, gone. Let's do that one again. All right, so we went around the tree, right? I'm gonna make a loop under itself, basically under. We get this loop here. This loop goes on top of the ridge line, goes under once, over and under again. And now the other piece that's like under the cord, we make a bite, a little loop, and we put that loop through. Pull it tight, dress it up, and now it's nice and snug. Loose, right? So we just pull, tighten it up, and watch this. I'm just going to loosen it so you can see. I take the cord, pull, ready, bing, FARRIMOND friction hitch. One more time. Around. So we get here. The running end goes under. Working end, I always get these confused. The one I'm trying to make a knot with. Got a loop under itself, under. Take the loop that you made, goes over your ridge line, under, over, under, and through. We have this little loop. The cord that's loose on the end, we make a bite, feed it through, pull it tight. And again, it works like a PRUSIK knot, You slide, and it's friction that holds it from coming undone. Yet, because we used a bite, and if you didn't want this to come out, you would take something else. Use a toggle in there, now it can't come out. But we take out the toggle, pull on the cord, and the knot's gone. Pretty cool, right? All right, so check this out. One of the ways to kind of get your cord ready for your quick deploy ridge line is you have one bowline and 3 PRUSIKs already attached, right? So what I do is, between my nanu fingers, and then I open my thumb and my pinky, and I go thumb, pinky, thumb, pinky, thumb, pinky, thumb, pinky, thumb, so on and so forth. Wait till you see this. When you get to about, I don't know, a foot or so left, you take it off, and you just take that extra piece of cord and wrap it over itself to keep it nice and neat. So you could stow it in your bag with your tarp or your whatever. And then when you're ready, what you do is, watch this. Don't you hate when you have like a bunch of cord wrapped in and it gets like knotted as you unravel it? So you just take off your closing loops. I hold the top of my ridge line, this part in my hand. The part's going to go around the tree that I'm next to. I take the rest of my cord and I'm going to throw it to the other tree. And it just goes without getting all knotted up. Look at this, nice and neat, nice and neat, nice and neat. And it's one of the ways that'll help you if you prep it right and get ready to set it up. When you take it out of your bag, you get caught in the rain, it's pouring, you got to get a tarp up real quick so you can get dry, get you and your family or your stuff under there. You put up a ridge line real fast, throw the tarp on real fast, get your stuff under there real fast, and you're good to go. So one more time, how I just wrap it is, again, I have a bowline knot with some PRUSIKs around it. The 2 on the ends hold onto the 2 corners of your tarp, and then one in the middle could hold your lantern or whatever. I put it between my, live long and prosper. Got it. So kind of on the back side. And I started running the cord around my thumb, around my pinky, around my thumb, around my pinky. Thumb, pinky, 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 thumb. And again, when you take it out and you hold on to the part you're holding, you toss the rest, and it just goes out there. So in our next video in this series, we'll go over how to quickly deploy your ridge line, get it wrapped around one tree, wrapped around the other tree, and how do you attach your tarp, and how do you get that done in 2 minutes and under. So if you made it this far and you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you're loving it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you gotta have it, go ahead and hit that bell notification button, and YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and you want more, you can find us on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. That's all I got for now, warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.